Board of Trustees of Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District is now convened in a regular meeting on Monday, December 14th, 2015 in the arena of the Berry Educational Support Center, 8877 Barker Cypress, Texas at 6 p.m. I want to welcome the members of our audience and our television viewers to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As the Cypress-Fairbanks Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by sections 551.071 to 551.084 inclusive of the Texas Government Code. These proceedings are airing live on CFTF Channel 16 and CFTV online on the district website. They will also be rebroadcast throughout the month on Channel 16 and available as video on demand on the website. For the tape to adequately reflect the proceedings, I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that your cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District. Tonight's invocation will be presented by Teresa Hall, Associate Superintendent for Governmental Relations, Communications, and Chief of Staff. Cy Falls High School Junior ROTC cadets presenting the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance are Rachel Gonzalez, Shakur York, Christina Edelbeck, and Josephine No. Sponsors are Major Timothy Nichols and Master Sergeant Herman Broussard. Please stand for the invocations and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather here tonight, we thank you for all that you have given each one of us. We thank you for the commitment you have placed in the hearts of these elected officials to make our community and state a better place to live and work and raise children. We ask your wisdom and guidance for each of them as they rise to the challenges before them. Father, we especially want to ask your blessing on Kevin Hoffman. He has given many years to so many children, and we are thankful for his dedication and service to our district. We also want to thank you for each of the students being recognized this evening and the talents you have given them. And Lord, we pray that you would provide peace to the family in the recent loss of one of our students. May they find comfort in knowing that we as a community stand with them in this difficult and sad time. And lastly, during this special season of the year, we pray that each one of us will use the gifts you have already given us. The gift of compassion, for we cannot help others until we understand them. The gift of hope, for hope determines our attitudes and sets our goals and creates our ideals. And we pray for hearts full of love that every day we can give some away. In your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Board Member Dr. John Ogletree will read the district's vision and mission statement for the benefit of the audience.
The Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District vision statement is learn, empower, achieve, dream, lead. Our mission statement: maximize every student's potential through rigorous and relevant learning experiences, preparing students to be 21st century global leaders.
Thank you, Dr. Ogletree. We'll now move on to this evening's special recognitions portion of the agenda. 1A, the board will recognize Kevin H. Hoffman for his years of service as a member of the Cypress-Fairbanks ISD Board of Trustees. The presenter is Mark Henry.
Thank you, Madam President, trustees. Kevin Hoffman, would you join me up here on the stage next to the podium, please? Kevin, I want to thank you on behalf of the school district, of course, all of the employees, all the community, all of the students, certainly the other trustees, and Dr. Ogletree will thank you even more from them in a moment. But Kevin, we really appreciate your last 4 years. Angela, I know that you've allowed Kevin many, many years of public service, not only in this district, but in other roles. And I can tell you that you were here at just the right time for Cyfair ISD, and the difference that you've made in the lives of students and the lives of our community is just tremendous, and we're so thankful for that. It's been a real pleasure for me to work with you the past 4 years, and on behalf, again, of all the employees, all the students in the community of Cyfair ISD, I'd like to thank you for that. Thank you, Mark. Let's step right out here so Gary can take a picture.
And Kevin, on behalf of the board, just stay right there, Kevin. Stay in the spotlight. We all truly appreciated your presence, your expertise, your love for students, your wisdom, and we will all miss you. Your being on this board helped us to get the achievement, the stellar achievement of being Board of the Year. So it must be nice to get to the pinnacle and ride off in the sunset. But we have something for you. Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Do you want to say something? We'd love you to say something.
Even former politicians, always take the opportunity to talk, right? Mm-hmm. Let me just say it has been an absolute honor and privilege to serve on this esteemed board. But one of the things that a lot of people don't recognize is the sacrifice not only of the trustees, but also their families. And I want to take this opportunity to once again recognize my wife and my best friend, Angela Hoffman, who's standing over there. The young lady sitting next to her was 2 years old when I started on my whole Board of Education thing. That's my daughter, Kayla. She is now a senior at Cy Ranch High School. Kayla, Mom and I are so proud of you and love you very much. And thank you for being a good kid while Dad was on the board. I want to take this opportunity also to thank the administration. Dr. Henry, you're the consummate professional. There's no doubt about it. It really makes a board's member's job a lot easier when you have an administration that works with you in a comprehensive manner and is focused on what we all should be focused on, and that is our kids. I also want to make sure I recognize all of my colleagues. What a wonderful group of folks. Matter of fact, you guys are the best group in the state of Texas, I believe. That's what the Texas Association of School Boards says. So I want to thank all of you for all of your hard work. I see Don's not here. I want to make sure I recognize him. But let me tell you something. You have an absolute winner in Debbie Blacksher. And congratulations to you. And looking forward to all of the great things you're going to be doing here, Debbie, with the district. For those of you who don't know, I'll brag on her. Debbie's been involved with the district for decades, behind the scenes, through bond campaigns, through foundations, other initiatives, through work with the Cy-Fair Credit Union. We are so excited to see you on this Board of Education. Obviously, upon me leaving, there's still work to be done, right? I mean, you know, Stuart still has to refinance some bonds. Roy still has to build some schools. Linda still has to work on that achievement gap. We all have Fabulous here has to still work on legal issues. There's still work to be done, and I am very confident that we're going to be getting that work done in a very comprehensive manner. And I feel just overwhelmed by all of the accolades and the attention. This evening, however, once again, it's not about me. It never has been. It's about the kids, and I just want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. Okay? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. It has been a delight to work with you, and we're going to miss you.
Miss everybody.
And thank you, Angela, for all the time that you allowed Kevin to spend with us. We really appreciate it. Recognitions 1B, the board will recognize Nicole Shear and Hannah Willingham of the Cy-Fair High School, who won awards at the Texas Association of Journalism Educators Fall Fiesta. The presenter is Stacy Thomas.
President Mangoya, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry, it is my pleasure to present to you this evening 2 students from Cy-Fair High School who have won state awards in journalism. These students distinguished themselves in the Texas Association of Journalism Educators annual Fall Fiesta, which was a yearly convention held in October in San Antonio. They have received superior ratings for their work on the campus newspaper at Cy-Fair, The Reporter. Students, please come up as I call your name so that we can celebrate your accomplishment. Junior Nicole Scher received a superior rating for feature writing. And sophomore Hannah Willingham received a superior rating for headline writing.
Yeah.
Additionally, the Cy-Fair newspaper was awarded 2nd place for overall best in show in Texas. The paper is directed by sponsor Lil Harris. Will Ms. Harris, family members of Nicole and Hannah, and any members of the Cy-Fair administration or faculty please stand to join me in recognizing these outstanding achievements in newspaper at Cy-Fair. Nicole and Hannah, we are incredibly proud of your work as newspaper reporters. It's your work that makes it possible for the stories on the Cy-Fair campus to be shared with your peers in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. 1C, the board will recognize students from Cypress Ranch and Cypress Woods High Schools who won 1st, 2nd, or third place at the National Thespian Festival in June 2015. Our presenter is Timothy Estelle. If the students will line up down on the floor when your names are called.
Good evening, Mrs. Mingoya, Board of Trustees, Dr. Henry. It is a pleasure to present to you this evening our outstanding students who have distinguished themselves in the area of theater arts. These dedicated and talented theater students competed at the National Thespian Festival held this past June in Lincoln, Nebraska. Judges comprised of theater arts educators from across the country adjudicated these students' performances and determined their rankings. The Educational Theater Association is a nonprofit organization with approximately 90,000 student and professional members. EDTA's mission is shaping lives through theater education by honoring student achievement in theater and enriching their theater education experience. This evening, we recognize students from 2 of our district high schools who received a first, second, or third place ranking. Honorees, as I call your name, please come forward and remain until all members of your troupe have been recognized. I would ask that those in attendance please hold your applause until all members of the campus troupe has been recognized. First, we honor the students from Cypress Ranch High School. With a third place ranking in the category of group musical with their performance of Raise the Roof from Wild Party, Sarah Bartholomew, Danny Dinderman, Mallory Fondren, Kelsey Jalanza, Kaylee Hidalgo, Haley Hughes, Kylie Snyder, and Grace Whaley. With a second place ranking also in the category of group musical, with their performance of Tain't Nobody's Business from Bullets Over Broadway, Max Foster, Chance Jarvis, Corey Jennings, Carson Leonard, Liam McGarity, Jose Mogollon, Brendan Morrow, Michael Fahm, and Ryan Simone. With a second place ranking in the category of duet musical, with their performance of Three Bedroom House from Bat Boy the Musical, Emily Derrigan and Abby Weeks. With a second place ranking in the category of monologue, with pieces from Fat Pig and God and Poker, Micah Smith. With a second place ranking sound design for Addams Family the Musical, Cole Andrews. And with a second place ranking scenic design for Addams Family the Musical, Cole Yates. These students are under the direction of Cheryl Bradford, Jane Bankston, Charles Page, and Nathan Staniland. If you are a parent, family member, administrator, or teacher of one of these students, I would like to invite you to stand. Please join me in congratulating Cypress Ranch High School. Thank you, students. Congratulations. You may be seated. Next, from Cypress Woods High School, we recognize, with a third-place ranking scenic design for the production of Annie, Brett Rose. In costume design for Sideways Stories from Wayside School, Serena Bunn. With their performance of You're Nothing Without Me from City of Angels, Robbie Littlefield. With a second place ranking in the category of duet musical. And finally, with a first place ranking and the distinction of being the top in the nation solo musical with her performance of A Hypochondriac Song from Out of My Head, Ashlyn Maddox. These students are under the direction of Toby Drake, Holly Knott, and Mark Duncan. If you are a parent, family member, administrator, or teacher of one of these students, I would like to invite you to please stand. Please join me in congratulating Cypress Woods High School. Thank you, students. You may be seated. Please allow me to close by extending my congratulations to all of these nationally recognized students and the campuses they represent. We are incredibly proud of your accomplishments, and thank you for representing the incredible fine arts programs we have here in Cypress-Fairbanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mistel. If everyone will hang with us for just a couple of minutes, we've got just one more thing to do, and then we'll take a brief break so that everyone that needs to get back to classwork can do so. So the superintendent will make remarks and announcements, including the honors and achievements earned by staff and students in recent weeks. Dr. Henry?
Thank you, Ms. Mongoya. The Cy-Fair Educational Foundation has been ranked 3rd in Division II, top 10 national ranking. Division II includes foundations with $1 million to $2 million in revenues. They were also ranked 31st in the top 50 educational foundations in the nation, studying K through 12 education foundations. Since its 1970 inception, the CFEF has awarded more than $6 million in student scholarships and more than $2 million in staff development grants. And I would add a little editorial here, since I know I met several of you. We've got a lot of juniors and seniors there. Make sure that you go to the Cy-Fair Educational Foundation website. Parents that are here, check that out, because literally hundreds of thousands of dollars are available every year for scholarships. The Cypress Ridge Symphony Orchestra, led by head orchestra director Christopher Mistel, has been selected to perform in Chicago on Friday, December 18th at the 67th Annual Midwest International Band and Orchestra Conference. They are one of 3 full orchestras selected from around the world to perform at this year's conference. This is the first orchestra from Cypress-Fairbanks ISD to receive this honor. This is an exciting opportunity for our music students from Cy Ridge to be recognized at a conference attended by over 17,000 musicians from around the world. Quite an honor. Cy Ranch and Cy Creek, competing in Division II, and Cy Falls, competing in Division I, all won their Region 3 6A football by district games. Cy Creek and Cy Ranch finished their seasons as area playoff finalists, while Cy Falls advanced to the regional semifinals where they ended their season. In volleyball, the District 17 6A champion and regional quarterfinalist Cy Falls volleyball team concluded their season in the Region 3 6A quarterfinals to complete a successful students. Congratulations to all of our talented students. Madam President.
Thank you. And as I mentioned, we'll take a brief break for those of you that need to leave, and we'll reconvene in about 3 minutes. Thank you. All right.
All right. We don't, you have a, you
I don't know if I have.
oh, gosh. I used to feel when I first got obligated, I gotta say something earlier.
Do we have any comments?
You know, that's what I like.
Citizens
She
comment.
has like something, but
Oh, okay, she did, good. Okay, they did
And
have
then
it.
what
Yeah,
I-
she's
what
getting
gets me
it.
is
All right, so we good to go back?
Y'all
I
can go
forget to
ahead and
make
do,
little notes to bring
your
to the
comment.
meetings.
That's what I was thinking.
Nicole.
start and hit me when you're done. Just wait.
Okay.
No, I just don't put pictures.
But again, there's 114,000 students and 4 people.
Yeah.
I'll give it to George.
Yeah, Darcy, I'm gonna have to get with you about something.
Okay, so
All those musical theater kids sing for us.
that would have been so neat.
That would have been great. Especially the Christmas season.
Yeah, we ought to have a performance during this time. I agree. One of the things we run into is semester tests, finals, but we've got middle school group come.
We're fine. They're all gonna stand back there and chit chat, the theater kids, I mean.
I think as soon as you start.
Okay, we're ready to get started. I'm just going to let that music go. Thank you. At this point, we're going to do our board comments. Any board member may make a comment during this portion of the agenda without prior posting being required. Comment items may not pertain to the character of any student, staff, or board member and may not be discussed or deliberated upon at this time. Would like to start on this end. Anyone want to make a comment?
I just wanted to say how honored I am to have been elected to serve our community and to work along beside this esteemed Board of Trustees and with our Superintendent and Administration team. I've long been a supporter of Cypher ISD, and it's a little bit different sitting on the other side. I'm used to sitting out there, and so it's will probably take me a little while to get acclimated. But I also would like to thank Kevin Hoffman. He has really served our district well, and I am proud to follow in his footsteps, and will try to live up to his expectations. Thank you.
Mr. Covey?
A couple of things. Back in November, and I don't remember the exact date, but the Houston Symphony came and did a program on clouds, and we brought all 4th grade students in. We had planned on bringing in all that day, so I believe there were 4,500 that came in the morning, and then if you remember correctly, we had a horrible storm, and we couldn't get the other 4,500 in. But it was amazing to sit in this auditorium with 4,500 4th graders, and they were so attentive to the orchestra and learning about the instruments, but also learning about music and science all together. So if you ever get a chance to compliment the Houston Orchestra, they did this on their own. It didn't cost us anything except to bus the kids over here. So I'm very, very pleased with that. And then the second thing I wanted, well, actually there's 3 things. The second thing I wanted to say was, this election that we just had, we had 4 people that have been elected, and they ran stellar campaigns. It was not negative. It was a very positive statement, and I was very proud of all 4 of them. I thought they were very class acts as they ran for their positions. And I know that Christine and Tom didn't have opponents, but Christine and Tom got out, and they also ran just like if somebody was opposed and running against them. So congratulations to all 4 of them. And then the last thing I'll say is April the 20th, Cyfair will be hosting the first road trip for a business/education forum, which we'll be having here in the Berry Center. That's on April the 20th, and we're trying to get businesses to be able to come, and we are working together to see how education and business can work closer together. Thank you.
Thank you. At this end of the table, Mr. Jackson, would you like to start? Dr. Ogletree?
Just want to wish every employee, every student, every parent, all of our staff a very Merry Christmas. We'll be praying that everyone really enjoys this holiday season, get closer to your families, and help you have a Happy New Year.
Is this on? Yeah, it is. Good. I would like to give a couple of tip of the hats tonight. First, a tip of the hat to Dr. Henry, Linda Macias, for bringing about, once again, our camps, our camp summit, our algebra camp. Bob and I both went through and made anecdotal observations as to the tremendous idea behind these. We saw children learning literacy but having fun doing it. But more than that, you saw the teachers having fun teaching these children. It was wonderful. But then at the last board meeting, you came back and presented the statistics that supported the anecdotal observations of Bob and I that address the efficacy. And when you take a look at the cost on a per-student basis with the lives that you have saved, because that's really what we're talking about in terms of literacy, I have to take my hat off to everybody who was involved in this endeavor. So thank you very much. Secondly, I've made any number of stops hearing and enjoying our performing arts. And so a tip of the hat to the district for 3 decades of constant support and improvement of the performing arts, whereas other districts may have decided they could not afford these. This district, this management, prior boards, and this board has taken the stance we cannot afford not to support these programs. And so I would like to thank everybody who was involved in these programs, whether you be management or teachers or students. And once again, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and any other happiness that I can pass your way. Thank you.
All right, that completes our board comments.
She's coming with them right now.
Okay. Don't run it. Take me a minute to read this. We're now at our portion of our board meeting where we welcome citizen participation. Patrons who have duly registered per policy BED local may address the board regarding matters of concern or interest to the district, other than the character of any student, staff, or board member. I would like to remind the audience and the viewers that the comments of the speakers reflect their own positions or opinions. The board may not discuss or act upon any matter that is not listed under the action item portion of the agenda. Therefore, board members may not discuss the comments of the speakers. Please understand that a lack of response from board members does not indicate agreement or approval of the comments. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the board. Bob Covey, Secretary of the Board, will be the designated timekeeper. We're going to ask that when I call your name that you come up to the microphone up here on the stage to make your...
No, right down here.
Where is
Where
it?
the lights are, right behind the...
Oh, it's right behind the I'm sorry, I couldn't see it. It's right behind there. You're going to come down there, and you will see the green light first, and then the yellow light will come on when you have 30 seconds left. We ask that you complete within that 30 seconds. The red light will come on when your time is up. At that point, you need to summarize very quickly in a sentence or two at the most. And we do have 10 speakers tonight. Our first speaker is Shannon Gestel. Shannon?
some materials here that just pass out here. I apologize, I only have 12 copies there, but I didn't realize the stage was going to be quite so full. Okay. Hi. Hello, my name is Shannon Gistel, and I am a representative of Town Lake, live in the neighborhood. I would just like to thank the Boundary Committee for their work, outstanding work on developing a initial proposal. It's quite an endeavor to undertake. We do have some minor proposals that we would like to suggest to improve the boundary options. Just a quick summary, if you want to follow along, I'll try to get through as much of this as I can in 3 minutes. But we feel like our proposal does improve on the feeder patterns. We have 3 elementary schools becoming 100% to a middle school. Aragon still becomes 100% to Langham Creek. All high schools are fed by 2 to 3 middle schools. We keep geographical proximity in mind when developing these boundaries. And our proposal does balance the enrollment projections. On the next page, page 3, Canyon Lakes at Stonegate's proposal to move to Aragon and then to Langham Creek does leave Cy Ranch a little bit underutilized long-term, so we didn't feel that was quite feasible, although we did take into considerations their desires to remain in their boundary feeder patterns. The next page points out our high school changes that we're proposing, the 3 red circled areas. Next page on page 5. Canyon Lakes at Stonegate, the 2 sections that will be zoned to Berks would stay at Aragon as they've requested and also go to Langham Creek. This keeps them going with their elementary school friends and 100% of Aragon going to Langham Creek. Next page, Westgate down south towards Langham Creek is part of Copeland Elementary School. If we keep them at Aragon, that makes Copeland 100% going to Aragon as well and keeps them geographically close to Langham Creek. Next page, with Canyon Lakes Village at Cypress Springs. They would actually stay at Cypress Springs because of their proximity to that high school, and it would help to backfill the students that are staying from Westgate at Langham Creek. The high school enrollment projections, you can see that our option provides less overcrowding for Cy Park, Cy Ranch, Cy Springs. Langham Creek is a little bit more, but it is stable and less than Stonegate, Canyon Lakes at Stonegate's proposal. The middle school changes we're proposing are the 4 circled areas there on page 9. Getting to the first one, we've got the 2 sections of Canyon Lakes at Stonegate that are zoned to Woodard and Postma would come to Anthony. That keeps Postma at 100% going to Anthony rather than being split as it is now. And it would keep them in the Cy Ranch feeder pattern. Next section, as I mentioned before, Westgate, part of Copeland, stays with Aragon and goes to Langham Creek, 100% for both elementary school and to middle school to high school. Next page on page 12, Jow, Paddock neighborhood is a part of Jow Elementary School. The rest of their friends all go to Kayla, and this would keep, if they go to Kayla also, that would keep them 100% from Jow going to Kayla. Page 13, Bear Creek Meadows at Northwest. This is the only section from Hemingway that is zoned to Kayla, and they could go to Hopper and stay with their friends. Real quick summarize middle school projections. You see less overcrowding in 3 of the middle schools. And the final page shows a possible middle school 19 scenario that is very clean and very easy. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. All right. Our second presenter is Ginger McJunkins. Ginger, will you come up to the microphone?
Hello.
No, it automatically
All right. My statement's a little bit more simpler. I don't have a lot of handouts, but what I would ask is that you would please consider allowing the students that are going into the 10th grade in the 2016-2017 school year, if they so choose and can provide their own transportation, to stay at their current high school and remain UIL eligible. These students are already vested in their school, their sports, their clubs, their bands, etc., and many of them will want to remain at their current school instead of starting over at a new one. Another alternative besides that would be to allow the Copper Village North subdivision school boundary to remain unchanged, which would allow those students to stay at Cypress Falls School. And instead, 3 other neighborhoods that are closer to Langham Creek and Cy Ridge to go there instead of Cy Falls. This would allow reduced amount of bus time and mileage all around. And we have some, I do have handouts that exhibit that proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McJunkins. Elizabeth Barrett, you're our third speaker.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I've got to read this pretty quickly to get through all my notes. I would like to address the boundary proposal that a portion of Cypress Mills be moved from Spillane to Goodson Middle School. We believe this is the wrong decision for our community. My family lives in the Cypress Mills neighborhood, and we specifically moved there for the Robison, Spillane, and Cy Woods complex. I believe a change to where the students in our community go is unnecessary and wrong based on the reasons a boundary committee is supposed to look at when considering the changes. We do not want our neighborhood split in half, and we do not want our middle school students being sent to Goodson instead. It was suggested at last week's workshop that we do not care about moving so long as our neighborhood stays together, and that's not true at all. Cypress Mills wants to remain at Spillane. The following information supports our position, addressing every part of the process for establishing attendance boundaries and how this change does not follow that process. 1, geographical proximity, etc. We are less than 2 miles from Spillane. Goodson is further away. This change would both increase driving time and distance, not minimize it, so change based on this factor does not apply. Also negating the use of this factor is that most of the area proposed to move into Spillane from south of 290 is in all ways closer to Arnold, Aragon, and LeBay than it is to Spillane. And I just drove this, so I can attest to that. 2, the school feeder systems. Students in the affected area are already and continue to be zoned for Robison and Cy Woods. Robison feeds into Spillane and Spillane into Cy Woods. Change based on this factor does not apply. 3, school capacities. Spillane Middle School has a capacity of 1,509. The 153 students of Cypress Mills do not cause this number to be exceeded. Students coming in from Arnold do. If there is not sufficient space for them, then they need to be moved elsewhere. Many alternative options have been sent in. 4, 5-year projections. Cypress Mills causes no issue for Spillane's 5-year projection. Again, it's the students coming in from elsewhere that does. Arnold, Hamilton, and LeBay all end up at lower numbers than they begin with by 2020. A shift between these schools can accommodate underpopulation at Goodson without involving Spillane at all. Goodson exceeds its capacity of 1,539 by 2018. Cypress Mills doesn't need to move there. 5, the use of thoroughfares, etc. for delineating changes. Cypress Mill Place Boulevard, a thoroughfare, and Dry Creek form our current boundaries and meet the requirements for this factor. Using Cypress Rose Hill because it's convenient is no reason at all. Finally, input from the community. I've been told by a neighbor that a number of years ago it was proposed that Cypress Mills be split down Cypress Rose Hill, but our community spoke out and remained intact. This precedent supports us remaining together and with the current boundaries. Ours is one of the few communities where our students spend K through 12 at a single complex, and changing that place is an unfair burden on the affected families. This change also potentially lowers real estate value for our neighborhood and attracts less families in the future. It's wrong to push aside our children
Ms.
in this
Barrett,
shuffle.
can you summarize?
Yes, ma'am. These are our kids, our awards, our test scores, and our distinctions. This is our community, our complex, and Spillane is our school. In summary, Cypress Mills wishes to retain its current boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. I want to apologize that our yellow light is not working. So I'm going to say 30 seconds when it gets to that point, if you don't mind, because I know we're not giving everyone the warning they need to conclude on time. Our next speaker is Louisa Hutchinson.
Hello, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity tonight. I would like to just start with a little short story, if that's okay. I know we are all proud parents of our kids, but I have a ninth grader attending Cypress Falls High School, and she's taking H-level classes with a grade point average of 97.7. She's also a member of the marching band and all the other clubs, science club and key clubs that the school offers. I can tell that, she's already attained most of your vision statements, to learn, the power, to achieve, the dream. I would like to therefore request tonight to please keep Copper Village North, Zone 2, Cypress Falls, and I come also representing some of the parents that have vouched and voiced their interest of keeping Copper Village North, Zone 2, Cypress Falls. I have a list of signatures here and also a proposal of subdivisions that are actually closer to Langham Creek that right now are being bused to Cypress Falls. And I would like to share that with you. And as well, even if it's just not for the 8th graders, but for the 9th graders, to keep them grandfather with the current high school and let them continue with their achievements and their vision on continuing at Cypress Falls. And with that, that's all I have. Appreciate it. And here's a copy of the signatures.
Thank you, Mrs. Hutchison. Alan Quintero is our next speaker.
Good evening, and thanks for the chance to speak. I'm here representing a group of residents at Town Lake, and we first and foremost want to thank the Boundary Committee process for keeping Town Lake together at Cy Ranch. That was very important to our residents. And also for taking the additional step to look at the middle school feeder patterns and make sure that any changes that were made in the high school patterns, were addressed with some middle school pattern changes. There's a couple of items that we'd would request the Boundary Committee to look at before a final recommendation is made to the board. First one is a lot of the decisions are being made based on the underlying projections, and we just ask for the Boundary Committee to look at those projections one more time for a reality check. I'll give you an example. Anthony Middle School right now is showing us only 2 more students next year than what they currently have today. And if I look out my front door in my house, I can see 12 houses being built in Town Lake alone. So that might need to be checked. Also, we ask that the discussions for the new middle school that was approved at the bond election begin sooner rather than later, so that we can start making plans for the opening of that next middle school. And that we use that opportunity to clean up the feeder patterns then all the way from elementary to high school, so that we have fewer schools that are middle schools that are split between high schools and fewer elementary schools that are split between middle schools. And then finally, if we are considering the proposal for keeping Aragon together to Langham Creek, that we give Mr. Gistel's recommendations a fair shake as the boundary decisions are made. Again, thank you for keeping Town Lake together as a community at Cy Ranch. That's really part of the community. I know this is a very difficult process. I've personally been involved in doing them, so I know this is hard, and it's a lot of things that need to be weighed, and Town Lake stands together, ready to help the district in whichever way we can. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Quintero. All right, we have our next speaker is Crystal Eve Maxwell, and then there's a / Justin Williams. Are both of you speaking within the 3-minute period? Just you are, Crystal? All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Board, for being able to, so that I can speak to you guys today. And piggybacking off of Mr. Hoffman and some of the things that I followed through him, I know that education is very important to this board, and I come representing Nobility, which is a new independent union here for educators in this district as well as others. The issue that we would like to bring forth today is the ratio concerns in the community programs department. I am aware that according to the state of Texas, that a program that is registered, if it is not registered as a child care or that type of program, that there are no ratio guidelines. I spoke with certain people, certain departments at the state level, and they informed me that this is where the local comes in as far as to see if we can implement some type of ratio concerns. The main points that I want to make today is that any type of situation, there are ratio concerns, especially with teachers that I know, but in a before and after school program, we are with those children for hours in the morning as well as in the afternoon. And any time where we have 30 to 40 kids per leader, it can be a bit much. For one thing, we know that it is unsafe for the youth that attend that program. Incidents and overall quality of the program can be jeopardized. It is unfair to the staff that have to manage that program at these campuses. There's lots of staffing inconsistencies, as well as the safety of the students we definitely feel should prioritize over enrollments for that particular program. We are suggesting that the board consider that if a campus that participates in the before and after school program is not fully staffed, that enrollments no longer be accepted until that campus is up to par, not after. Now we're still accepting kids, and like I said, this has happened in numerous campuses where there are 30 to 40 kids per leader. So that is the issue that I'm bringing up to you guys today. I definitely hope that you guys can look into that and help us out, as it's very, very important to us that we deliver and continue to deliver a quality program through community programs. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Chaz Taylor.
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank everybody here for everything you do for our district. I am actually a Cy-Fair scholarship recipient. I've been with Cy-Fair since Horn Elementary, and I think you guys do a great job. Everybody knows by looking at me I'm not a normal guy. I don't have a normal job. I am a professional wrestler. I wrestle on TV. You can see me almost every night now on ESPN, which brings me to my point is I just bought a house in Autumn Run, and we told our realtor that we want to find a house that goes to Langham Creek. I'm a Cy-Fair graduate. I graduated in 1990 in Cy-Fair. Back then, it was nicknamed Cy-Farm. I love Cy-Fair, and it was back when it was just cattle and Cy-Fair High School. But we found a house that we love now. We've lived there for 4 months, and like I said, we told our realtor that we want a house that goes to Langham, and we're being told that we're being rezoned over to Cy Spring. And I don't really have an issue with the school itself. I live 1.5 miles from Langham Creek, which we're being asked to go 4.6 miles to Cy Spring. I feel confident that my kids will be looked after because one of the actual principals at Cy Ridge was a gentleman that I helped mentor just out of high school, Dr. Lopez, and you could verify this with him. Him and some of his friends came to my father and myself, and oddly enough, we taught him how to be a professional wrestler, traveled all over the U.S. with him, and helped keep his nose clean and keep him out of trouble. So he is an actual principal at Cy Springs, so I know my kids will be taken care of, but it's more for a convenience thing, wanting to stay where we're at currently. So I thank you for your time, and everybody Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Our next speaker is Kathy Howes.
I just want to thank you for the opportunity and apologize that I'm not prepared. I'm not a public speaker. I'm a parent. We have lived in our house for 18 years. our oldest attended 3 different elementary schools, so we're well familiar with boundary changes. We currently have an 8th grader who grew up knowing she would go to Cy Falls. She has helped me volunteer for the past 8 years at this high school, and now she's being told she needs to go to Langham Creek. I'd like you to consider redefining what grandfathering is. Consider the legacies for these families. Consider the emotional impact it has on the children. Consider the financial impact it has on the families. We have, I know it sounds ridiculous, but we have all the Cy Falls gear. We have the stadium seats. We have the Letterman jackets. We have all of that. And now we're going to have to sell all our green stuff and get all red stuff, which, like I said, it sounds silly, but there's also an emotional impact, and I would urge you to consider that. My daughter, who grew up knowing she would go to Cy Falls, has been sick to her stomach, thinking that now her plans are changed. She met with the counselors already to determine her high school schedule. They asked her to project 4 years, and she did. She projected it based on what she knows about the school. She's familiar with the school because we've been active in the school for the past 8 years. I would like the board to consider what a legacy is and take that into consideration when you determine what grandfathering means. Right now, our only option for our family is to ask our current high school senior to fail English so that her sister could go to the same high school. Doesn't sound like a great option to me, but she's willing to consider it. So, but truly, what I'm asking you is, what is grandfathering? And please consider the legacies that these families and the financial and emotional impact for our families and children. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Carrie Rampelli.
Good evening, Board President, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Henry. I'm here tonight to discuss the boundary proposal for High School 12 and kind of echoing what we've heard about really keeping our middle schools together. Both of my kids, I've got a 4th grader and a 6th grader, and we've been rezoned 3 times since we've been here in kindergarten, and I fully support it, as I know being in a fast growth district, voting yes for a bond, boundary modifications are inevitable. My concern comes with the proposal for High School 12, which moves kids from Cy Woods High School to Cy Ranch for Alder Trails, Barker Lake, Hot Wells, Riata Ranch, and Stonegate South. If you want to refer to the PowerPoint on slides 28 through 29, that's what I'm speaking on tonight. And according to enrollment numbers, it's about 600 kids that are enrolled in these middle schools, and that means that about 200 students yearly will be pulled from Spillane, and instead of going to Cy Woods, will go to Cy Ranch, which is about 15% of the total population from Spillane. We really want to keep these educational villages together, where if you're separating such a small percentage and absorbing into the high school, it just doesn't make as much sense. So these people in these residential zones will be together for 3 years, forming all the social relationships, doing sports together, getting the gear, getting the red gear, the green gear, and they have to leave the middle school, which is, for this situation, it's about 220 students. They're going to be walking into Cy Ranch High School, being 5% of the total population. I have a son right now that will go to Spillane, and instead of going 200 yards away to the high school there, we'll have to travel over 11 miles to go to Cy Ranch High School. Of course, this causes additional traffic and mobility issues between Spillane and Cy Ranch. And of course, it isn't just going to affect the rising 9th graders for the 2017-18 school year, but will keep affecting each class after that. And we really just want to keep these kids there at Spillane. Another consideration would be to send these residential zones to Anthony, but according to the 5-year enrollment projections, Anthony will be at 1,650 in 1920, whereas Spillane will be at 1,485. So I don't know if that's a long-term possibility. Additionally, looking at enrollment projections for Cy Woods and Cy Ranch for 17-18, Cy Ranch has almost 300 more students projected, and even 5 years out in 2021, there is only a 100 student difference between Cy Ranch and Cy Woods. So keeping these students at Cy Woods.
You do have 30 seconds remaining.
will not have a negative impact for enrollment numbers. So really all we are asking is that you will please keep these residential zones together and keep the true feeder patterns of your middle schools going to your high schools. And thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. There was one person that did want to speak, and instead, because that was over our limit of 10, he did provide written comments. Oh, did I? I am so sorry. I lost count. Lara Dessens, or Laura Dessens.
Good evening. I'm speaking on behalf of Laura.
Okay.
We live in the same community.
All right.
I'm from Enchanted Valley. We are being affected by the change in middle schools, and I apologize, I don't have proposals and any formal paperwork for you guys to go by, so please bear with me. The on page 5 of the original boundary committee proposal, it lists the goals are to minimize change, minimize impact to neighborhoods and communities, and to follow natural lines and borders. Our neighborhood, Enchanted Valley, is currently divided into 2 sections, but we're one community. We're 2030 and 2031 neighborhoods on your proposals. The changes are moving just the Enchanted Valley section to Arnold, but leaving the other half of our community at Hamilton. And we're one neighborhood. We have carpools, we have scouts. And the line that the committee drew is through people's backyards. It doesn't follow a natural line, it follows a fence line. So we ask the committee to please consider keeping 2030 and 2031, or Enchanted Valley and Enchanted Valley Estates together at Hamilton, and to keep our community together. Thank you.
Sir, can we get your name for the tape?
Yes, my name is Jason Folk.
Okay, thank you. Now that concludes our public comments. We did have an additional person that did want to speak, and we limit this to 10, so we have received written comments. I want to remind everyone that option 2 was discussed in our workshop on Thursday, and you are welcome to look at that and study that and make your comments. We will be receiving comments throughout until we make a decision in January. So please look at the website and add your comments. We very much appreciate the citizens' perspective on this before we make these important decisions. All right. During the Committee of the Whole on Thursday, December 10th, 2015, the following reports were received. 4A, the administration will provided a report on 2 summer programs, the primary literacy camp and the algebra camp. 4B, in accordance with the TEC Code and State Board of Education regulations, the President of the Board announced the names of each board member who has completed, exceeded, or is deficient in the continuing education required under state law. And 4C, the administration provided a written report on the end-of-year academic performance and literacy assessment of elementary students in grades K through 2 for the 2014-15 school year. Also during the Committee of the Whole meeting, it was the consensus of the board that the following actions items be approved as submitted or amended. 5B, the board will consider approving the attached list of students for off-campus physical education 2015-16 school year, spring. 5C, the board will consider approving the tax refunds of $500 or greater for Cypress-Fairbanks ISD. 5D, the board will consider approving the minutes of the November 9th, 2015 regular meeting. 5E, the board will consider approving the minutes of the November 16th, 2015 special called meeting. And then on Thursday, the following non-consensus items were placed on the consensus agenda. 6A, the board will consider a resolution authorizing use of eminent domain to condemn easements located on the district's 127.8 acre Bridgeland site. And 6B, the board will consider approving the CenterPoint Energy Houston Electric LLC blanket utility easement to provide electrical service for the new natatorium. If any board member wishes to remove one or more items for further discussion, please do census items as recommended or amended.
Mr. President, I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Covey. Do we have a second, though, at this time? Any removals? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the... All those that agree signify by raising your right hand. Those that do not agree, raise your right hand also. The motion carries and is unanimous. That will go back to an item on our non-consensus agenda, and that is item 5A. The board will consider awarding bids and contracts and/or authorizing purchase orders as recommended in the posted agenda items. And A1, art and miscellaneous school supplies. A2, audiovisual and theatrical equipment and supplies. A3, automotive chemicals, parts and supplies. A4, central packaging for food services. 5, cleaning supplies for food service. 6, Cy-Fair High School band uniforms. 7, electric service bucket and lift truck service. 8, family and consumer science equipment and supplies. 9, health science equipment and supplies. 10, office supplies. 11, papers for food service. 12, pipe and wire. 13, printer supplies. 14, processed produce. 15, satellite cold storage for food service. 16, small wares for food service. 17, telephone data and video cabling and repair services. 18, TVs and mounts. 19, whole produce. Any questions on this item? Mr. Jackson?
My question pertains to item 5A15, satellite cold storage for food service. And I don't know if Dylan's is the proper responder, or Roy, if you want to designate somebody else. The question I have is, would you please comment on the efficiency of these items? I'm well aware that the efficiency is not measured as you would household items, but they still have an efficiency analysis. And if you would explain where this lands on that continuum, like all pieces of equipment, you have those that are least efficient, those that are most, and a variety of items in between. So if you would address those items, please.
As you mentioned, there is a sliding scale of at any electronic or cooling item, and this walk-in coolers and freezers are manufactured by Thermocool. They are the industry's top-of-the-line brand, which allows us to provide the highest ratings for the food service and food service production. I'd like to point out that in June 2014, the Department of Energy did issue a final ruling that any facility of this type, over 3,000 square feet of storage space, do not have to follow the same key factors as the walk-in coolers, similar to our high schools, middle schools, in that regard. That being said, the highest rating that coolers of this type can meet is an R40 value in the insulation ratings. Both of these cooler freezers have an R value of excess of 33. You mentioned the residential comparison, and that's roughly 4 times what a residential refrigerator, even an Energy Star refrigerator, would have on an insulation and efficiency value. So I would point out that all the costs associated with this cooler, as well as the operating cost of the cooler, are fully funded from the food production program, food service program, and not from the M&O funds that affect the tax rate of our voters.
Dylan, a question of clarification. Would you consider this item to be on the continuum to be more efficient or less efficient?
More efficient. It's very highly efficient.
And if we wanted to specify the most efficient, does that drive the cost up in a significant fashion?
It is. In a facility such as this size, it would be a significant cost increase. It's not just square footage, but it's also the amount of materials and the weight of that materials that affects the foundation and everything that has to drive that cooling system.
Thank you. This certainly appears to me that it is following the concept of prudently following and pursuing efficiency and effectiveness whenever possible. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you, Tom.
I have no further questions.
Does anyone else have any questions on this item? I will then entertain a motion to approve the non-consensus items.
Madam President, I move that this item, 5A, be approved, and these items 1 through 19.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you, Mr. Jackson. All those that agree, please signify by raising your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. That concludes our action items. On Thursday, we did have a board discussion about attendance boundaries, as I mentioned, for Cypress Park High School number 12, and Cypress Park opens in 2016 for the 2016 year, and the high school number 12 will open for 2017. And I again welcome you to add your comments online about our boundaries. We will now go to the superintendent's briefing portion. Dr. Henry will make comments and provide information of interest.
Thank you very much. And just to add to Ms. Mongoya's comment there, if you did not watch the board meeting from last Thursday, I would encourage everyone in this building, and of course those of you at home, to please watch that. It gave a very good explanation of some other options that were explored that may, well, it's not just may, it will answer some of the questions that were posed here this evening, and maybe some of the questions that people have at home. And also, all of your emails that you send in, they are directly sent to the trustees. Up here, they receive every comment, every suggestion, every idea that you have, so please keep those coming in. We've already incorporated some of the ideas that we've received, and certainly we're always open to comments. The fall graduation for Winfern High School will be held on Friday, December 18th at 7 p.m. at the Berry Center. The Winfern High School graduating class of December 2015 is expected to include 117 students. Certainly, I would like to commend these students, their parents, and the Winfern staff for this great accomplishment. I think most every parent in here knows this. I know your students do, and I can guarantee the teachers know this, that December 21st through January 1st, all campuses and instructional support center will be closed to the public for the holidays. All support facilities will be closed December 24th, 25th, and 31st, and January 1st. Classes will resume on Tuesday, January 5th. Additionally, Monday, January 18th will be a student and staff holiday honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. If there is an emergency to report during the holidays, please contact security at 281-897-4337. I would also like to extend a warm holiday wish to all of our students, employees, families, and I hope you have a safe, restful, and joyous holiday season. Residents, please remember that with the upcoming New Year's holiday, Texas law prohibits the discharge of fireworks on school district property. The CFISD Police Department will patrol the district's premises during the holiday season. Citizens who observe fireworks violations are requested to contact the district's dispatcher at 281-897-4337. And of course, as you know, as taxpayers and people in this community, we are just trying to take care of the facilities that this community has so graciously provided. So please look out for that. And having said that, one more comment that's not on my list, but I certainly want to include. We have a multi-decade employee that this is her last week here in Cyfair ISD, and this is her last board meeting. I've had the privilege, and she's had the burden of working with me over the past 4.5 years, And certainly, I can't tell Donna Bloy how much, I could never express or tell you how much I appreciate all that you've done for me, that you've done for this district, for this board, and certainly we celebrate your retirement, and we're going to miss you a great deal, so congratulations.
We all very much appreciate Ms. Blowy and everything that she does for all of us. I want to thank you for coming to our meeting or for watching on TV. I hope everyone has the happiest of holidays, and with no further business, this meeting is concluded. Thank you.